We're looking at learning target 6B. It says I can estimate the value of a square root on a number line. Our key thing here is that we're estimating, and it talks about right here in the learning target that we're dealing with number lines, so you should be drawing number lines for all of these questions. It says, what is the product of an integer that is closest to negative square root 76 and the smallest integer that is greater than square root 37? So we're working through this using a number line, okay? So there's some vocabulary in here. We've got the word product. Product means multiplying the answer to a multiplication problem. And integer is talking about our whole numbers and opposites, meaning negative numbers as well. That is closest to negative square root 76 and the smallest integer that is greater than square root 37. So I'm going to start with square root 37 because it's easier, because it's a smaller square root and it's not a negative. So I'm going there first. I'm going to locate it over here because it's going to be the bigger one, and that's square root 37. And on either side, I know that I have square root 36 is 6, and I have square root 49 is 7. So I just located it. I could have located it a lot closer to 6 because that square root's a lot closer. But all that doesn't really matter in this question. It just needs to be between 6 and 7. So I'm going to go back here. The smallest integer that is greater than square root 37. The greater than side is this direction, and that smallest integer is 7. There it is. Okay. So negative square root 76. So I'm going to write over here negative square root 76. And know that we had 0 back here, and that we're working in the negatives. So it's going 0, 1, 2, and so on. And so our square root numbers are getting increasingly larger in the size here as we move to the left, getting farther away from the 0. So I'm going to think about square root 76 as a positive value and think about what are those two numbers in between. I know that 9 is square root 81, so I'm just going to put a negative there and a negative there. And I know that 8 is square root 64, and then I'm going to put a negative there and a negative there. And read again what this one says. This one's a little tricky right here. What is the product of the integers that is closest to that? Okay, so this matters where it's located. Well, it's only 5 away, right? 76 plus 5 gives me 81 here. But it is 12 away on this side. So this square root is closer to negative 9 than it is to negative 8 because it's only 5 square roots away here and 12 here. Product, so I'm going to be doing negative 9 times 7, and so that's going to give me negative 63 as the answer. All right? So what is the sum? Sum is an answer to an addition problem of integers. Integers are whole numbers and their opposites between square root 20 and square root 98. Our learning target's talking about a number line. What should we be drawing? A number line. So I'm going to write square root 98 here. I'm going to write square root 20 here. And I'm going to be working and finding the perfect squares on either side. I know that 5 is square root 25. And I know 4 is square root 16. And I know that square root 20 is between those two. And I know that 10 is square root 100. And 9 is square root 81. And it says I want to know the sum of the integers between them. So 4 is not between those two square roots. If I were to go like that, 4 is gone. So I'm going to cross it off. I'm going to cross off 10. It is not there. But 5 is. So is 6. So is 7. So is 8. And so is 9. What is the sum of those? So I have an addition problem I've got to do here. Well, 5 and 6 is 11. And 7 and 8 is 15. And so then I'm just going to take that 11, and I've got 15, and I've got 9, right? So I've got 5, I've got 9 and 1 here make 10, plus 5 makes 15. Carry the 1, 1, 2, 3. Our answer is 35. And we've got one more here. If point n is the largest integer that is less than square root 83, point p is the largest integer that is less than square root 235. What is the distance Distance is a subtraction problem between point N and point P. What should I be drawing? A number line. Okay. I'm going to write here square root 83. I'm going to write here square root 235. And so I want to know, I first need to locate it, and then I need to think about what point N is. Dashes on either side. Square root 81 is 9. Square root 100 is 10. I know 83 is 9 point something, so let's make sense. Point N is the largest integer on the less than side. The less than side is the left side, going to the smaller side. The largest integer there is 9. Doing the same thing here. Much bigger number. Okay, so we remember we're trying to have things memorized up to 20. And if we don't, we need a system that works. We need to be doing some multiplication. I know that square root 225 is a smaller number here, very close, and that's 15. So I know 16 goes here. But again, how do I get 16? I'm going to do an area model to figure that out. I've got 10 and 6, 10 and 6. And finding those areas, 10 times 10 is 100, 10 times 6 is 60, 10 times 6 is 60, and 6 times 6 is 36. So I have 120 going on right here, 220, 256. Okay, so 235 is between those two. Point P is the largest integer on the less than side, so it's 15. What is the distance? So I'm doing a subtraction problem there. 15 minus 9 is 4, right? And, no, I'm sorry, 6. 15 minus 9 is 6. Our answer is a distance of 6. All right. So you are doing the on your own questions 4, 5, and 6. You are turning it in, and I will sign you up for a retest.